my God. Judy here. Good morning. I just woke up. There's my dog and there's my window and I'm in bed. I have a very encouraging message to those of you who have loved ones that you're concerned about. I've already told you that the Lord has told my son most of creation will be saved. Your prayers are going to be answered. But God wanted to speak more on that issue, and He gave me a huge message about my eyes on the sparrow. You think I'm not micromanaging every detail and every prayer of every saint that I love, every person, because we're called saints because of what Jesus has done. So, but every person that's praying, and some of us understand that intellectually, but you're still really sad and really worried about, let's say, children, and God just really wants to comfort your heart with this message He gave me. So I'm going to give you the incredible experience. But before I do, I want to share with you, and I hate talking about him. I hate this guy. I hate talking about this guy, but I need to. I don't do it very often. My main strategy is to ignore this guy, and God loves that strategy. But every now and then you just have to acknowledge his little poo-poo self and then get on with it. That guy I'm talking about is Satan. Okay, so when I'm done making every video since he fell on my son, when he started having me make videos in 2014, like just me talking, I didn't really talk much when my son was making videos in 2013. I'm just in shock about everything that was happening. It was mostly him preaching, but in early 2014, I started sharing more. And at the end of almost every single one, even to this day, it happened yesterday. It happens almost every time I make a video, just about every single time. And I hear this voice that says, you should not upload that. That is so ridiculous. You rambled. It was stupid. It's just, I mean, on and on. And it's really weird because it's really powerful. And then I press upload anyway. And the Lord, and now the thing is, here's what I do. I always ignore it. Okay, so that's why I've never talked about that. I don't tell you the way Satan comes at me because I ignore him. Of course he comes at me. He comes at me all the time. But I don't acknowledge him, and I keep going on my day with the joy of the Lord and trusting him. I take it as a compliment that he's after me. He's after all of you if you love God and you're sincerely following him. He'll leave you alone if you're in compromise. He's just not going to bug you if you're not being effective. But and I'm not talking doing things for God. Being effective for God is just loving him and having intimacy with him. I'm not talking about ministering to people. I'm talking about ministering to God's heart. And if you're being effective and just having a relationship, he will come at you. Oh, God's not listening. You're not talking to anyone. He's never going to talk back. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's some of you that are still being affected by this little runt, this jerk. And I just wanted to remind you, because God said, I made a video. It was a day or so ago or two, I don't know. And again, I heard that voice really loud. You shouldn't upload this. Just make another one. Just do a different one. This is just not. It's not going to help anyone. It was just. And God said, I know you normally ignore him, and that's good, but I brought it to your attention more so that you could tell others again what you do. So they're being affected by him, and that makes me sad. So I was like, oh, okay. So it's like I said, I just ignore it, kind of like you ignore a fly that's bugging you. And so Anyway, guys, ignore his putrid little voice. And I'll tell you how you know it's him. It's not encouraging. It's not encouraging. It's always insulting, mostly always. And it just doesn't make you feel good. It's not building you up. It's putting you down. And some of you have your own voice that does that. Okay, ignore your own voice too. If it's your own voice or him. But believe me, a lot of times you think it's you, but it's him. Anyway, who cares? I'm just telling you right now. The Lord's telling me to tell you. Ignore that punk. And if you spend a ton of time rebuking him, you're giving him more attention. Don't waste it on him. I very rarely rebuke him unless the Lord tells me to. Lord, rebuke you. Because that's too much acknowledgement. To even acknowledge you're there enough to rebuke you is ridiculous. I know it's scriptural. I get that. But we have a living and live relationship with the Lord. Quit doing things out of habit and pattern. I used to do that for years. I had this whole prayer thing that I did. I had to rebuke Satan before this and that. No, just, it's okay to do that. It's okay, right? But when you have more of an authentic living relationship with God, where you trust him and commune with him, you can just ignore the devil. And I'm telling you right now, ignore him. And if the Lord tells you, oh, go ahead and rebuke him right now, then you will. I've probably done it maybe three times in 2 years. I'm not even kidding. Because God rebukes them for me. And the devil hates it when you ignore him. He hates being ignored. He'll just go bug somebody else. And you know, psychologists say, in order, when you're dealing with people, in order to call, and mostly children, but it works for adults. I'm a teacher, so I have learned all these things. If you want to cause an extinction of a behavior, you ignore it. Don't acknowledge it. You know, when you have a unruly student in your class, just ignore the behavior. It's the most effective way to cause an extinction of that behavior, and that worked tremendously, and still to this day does. Although I'm working with high school children now, and I don't have to do that as much. But anyway, ignore his punk butt. Okay, guys, just ignore it, and what you focus on, you empower. So if you focus on Christ, you empower him. If you focus on Satan, you empower him. If you focus on you and your failures, you empower you in your failures. Focus on Christ. Focus on his victory at the cross for your life that made you perfect and spotless before your dad. Okay? So Satan gives really good arguments as to why you should hate yourself and beat yourself up and why your life should suck. Don't listen to those arguments. Christ defeated those arguments at the cross. He loves you. God loves you. You know that. I'm reminding you of that. Ignore that voice. And when God reminded me about that voice, that's at the end of nearly every video I make since 2014, it was so cute. He goes, I know you normally ignore this, and that's good. But I brought it to your attention louder this time so that you could tell others and just remind them. I've made so many stinking videos and I've erased a lot. And sorry, some of you that keep hearing the same thing, but you know, God, just like his Bible doesn't change, his words in us that he's given us through the years, they never change too. And every now and then he wants us to say them again or repeat them again. He gives us new, fresh stuff all the time. I have a new, fresh thing to tell you that just happened, and I'm still just freaking out with wow over it. And I'm about to make that in my next video. I talked about it at the beginning of this video. It's about your loved ones. It's about how God has his eye on the sparrow. And I'm going to make this in my next video before I go to work here. So stay tuned. I love you guys. Bye.